Chapter 21 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Second sister. In law and dowries, the two families almost choked in anger. Xiao Yunduan's reaction almost burst out. He turned around and pretended to cough so as to hold the laughter in. This wife of his seemed like a lot of fun. Eldest uncle's eyes widened as he said, "But we are all from the Xiao family, we share the same ancestors." Ms. Fong found that Ms. Qiao's words were too good. She snorted. "You are not talking senses. Half of the people in the village have Xiao as their family name and we all share the same ancestor. Should we check with every family?" "Ms. Qiao, you are right, we are in different families, and we are all healthy beings, why must someone be so greedy? We have never gotten anything from your families." Ms. Niu said, "Honestly, sister. In law, we are not that competent, and we always remember the favor you have done for us. When we become capable in the future, we will be of some help to you too. We are all one family, don't get so estranged. It is so hurtful. Ms. Qiao can say whatever she wants, but we wonder if it is true about what she says, or just that she doesn't want to share her things with Meiling and Xiaoji. We are all sisters. What she has done hurts us." Eldest uncle sighed, and threw a guilty look at Xiao Meiling and Xiao Xiaoji. He felt the same way, as he complained that Xiao Xian was too stingy as the sister. In law. Xiao Xian showed a helpless look. "I am telling the truth. There is nothing I can do, even if you don't believe me." Ms. Niu became even angrier. She was not convinced inside her heart. She should have asked them to check her dowries. If Xiao Xian had said these words, Ms. Niu would definitely ask Ms. Ma to dig out everything from Xiao Xian's boxes. Moreover, she also wanted to see what those 26 sets of dowries from the county magistrate's family were like. Xiao Xian did not follow her lead, but Ms. Niu could not hold the itch, and said, "You have to show us." Xiao Xian turned to her and showed a strange smile. "You want to check my dowries?" Ms. Fong became furious. "Ms. Niu, what do you mean? Even I, the mother. In law, have not seen any of her dowries, what do you think you are doing? Dowries were private things. No families who had even a little shame in them would do things like this." Ms. Niu pursed her lips. "Don't get me wrong. I just want Ms. Qiao to prove what she said was real." Ms. Fong sneered. "I don't care if you don't believe her. There is no need to prove anything. As long as I believe my daughter. In law, it will do." Xiao Xian smiled. "That is fine for me, but I just remember that you haven't given me any gifts either. What about giving presents to me and letting me see your dowries too?" Ms. Ma got annoyed. "What gifts? We don't have such rules in the Xiao family." Ms. Fong rolled her eyes. "Then, shut your mouth." Ms. Niu was about to add something, when Ms. Fong said, "So, you don't want to have any dinner tonight, right? Are we done or not?" Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma exchanged glances with their husbands and pressed down their anger. They knew that they could do nothing today, so they stopped making the fuss. Eldest uncle had already become very worried, exhausted and embarrassed. He waved at Ms. Fong and said, all right, stop talking and go make dinner. It is getting late." Chapter 22 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Guilty Ms. Fong had been used to eldest uncle trying to appease everyone in the past. She simply snorted and felt nothing inside her heart. She was worried that Xiao Xian would get bullied again, so she said to her son, "Yunduan, take your wife back to the room. I will tell you when it is time for dinner." Xiao Yunduan also did not have any interest in hearing them babbling any further, so he nodded. "Okay." Ms. Ma did not seem happy about this. She let out a fake smile. "Sister. In law, you love your daughter. In law, and don't want her to do anything." Ms. Fong threw a superior look at her. "My son is a cultivated talent, and soon he is going to take the village examination. He needs someone to take care of him." Ms. Ma thought of how her own son failed the imperial examination that he had attended with Xiao Yunduan. She became angry and glared at her. Both third uncle and sixth son were not looking good either after hearing this. Ms. Fong did not care about how they felt. She turned around and went into the kitchen. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian went back to the room as well. The door closed and Xiao Xian let out a sigh of relief. It was quiet in the room. Xiao Yunduan looked at her and felt that he should say something. So he thought for a while and asked her. Are you okay? Xiao Xian threw a look back at him and smiled. I am okay. Okay. Xiao Yunduan had no idea how to respond to it. He did not know what to say next. Okay, good that you are okay. He paused and added. They are always like this. You can just stay away from them. Don't take what they say to your heart. If they go over the top, tell me or mom. Xiao Yunduan told her all this and gave a complicated look to Xiao Xian. It was really a difficult situation for her right now. Xiao Xian saw how he was behaving and burst out into laughter. She looked at him with her head tilted and teased him. You are feeling a little guilty. Xiao Yunduan was startled. He responded in a small voice as he moved away his gaze in an awkward way. I didn't expect that they were going to behave like this. Anyway, stay away from them. Xiao Xian let out an even deeper smile. You are worried that I will be bullied. It was a question, but Xiao Yunduan seemed to feel that she was saying that she was not at all scared and that she did not care about his concern. He felt a bit angry inside his heart, and he was about to reply when Xiao Xian nodded and said, yes, you are right. I will stay away from them. In fact, she had no interest in those people. As long as they did not come to her causing trouble, she would not care about what they were doing. Teasing this man in front of her was a lot of fun. So, she turned to him and said with a look of sincerity and expectation, if you are feeling guilty, how do you think that you should compensate me? Xiao Yunduan. He felt as if he had been trapped by her. But he wasn't sure about it. The feeling of being both trapped and helpless in front of her arose inside him again. He answered in a muffled voice, when facing her gaze and this hard question. What do you want? Xiao Xian chuckled inwardly, thinking that this man was really so much fun. She inclined her head and thought for a while, smiling. What about taking me to the mountains tomorrow? To the mountains? Xiao Yunduan was startled. Her answer was beyond his expectation. She was the daughter of the county magistrate. What was she going to do in the mountains? He could not help but get curious. What are you going to do there? Take a walk. Xiao Yunduan. He felt as if he had become an idiot. Chapter 23. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Yunduan's denial. Seeing that he was so flummoxed, Xiao Xian held her laughter and added. The mountains must have a good view. I just want to take a walk around for relaxation. Can you come with me? The most important thing was that she was going to study her superpower. After all, there were many plants in the mountains. Could Xiao Yunduan say no? Of course not. Moreover, she was blamed for a series of hardships today, and seemed to be so pitiful. I got it. Xiao Yunduan nodded and looked at her. Then he gave her a reminder. It is not an easy path to reach the mountain. There are plants with thorns, and the leaves are sharp as knives. Also, there are bugs and insects during this time of the year. You have to be prepared for all these. Oh, that is okay. Xiao Xian laughed. You will always be with me, won't you? Xiao Yunduan's heart skipped 2 beats. He suddenly flushed. He had intended to tell her not to talk like this, but then he realized that she was right. On this trip to the mountain, he was going to be by her side anyway, wasn't he? She was a noble-born lady who had never been to any wild mountains. If he did not look out for her, she might get messy and totally lost. Therefore, she was simply talking sense. It was just him who had thought it in another way. Good that he stopped himself from telling her the words, otherwise he would get really embarrassed. Xiao Yunduan could not stand being by her side right now. This unbelievable woman was going to spill out something even more uncomfortable, wasn't she? He got up and replied stiffly. You stay here, I will take a look outside. Before Qiao Xian could give any response, he turned around and dashed off. Qiao Xian covered her face and chuckled, as she saw the door close again. This man was so much fun. He only knew how to read. It seemed that she had developed some feelings towards him. Qiao Xian thought of how he calmly defended her when she was confronted by those annoying families. She suddenly felt that this man was actually very nice. Then she thought deeper. Her mother-in-law was so nice, and so was her sister-in-law. The elder brother, third brother and Qi were nice as well. So was the elder sister-in-law. As for her father-in-law, she could tell that he was a parent who loved to look good on the surface. It was a merit too. In this way, he was definitely not going to do anything shameful, like lecturing his daughter-in-law publicly. Actually, this kind of man was very easy to deal with. For example, when she was speaking so rudely to the two women just now, their husbands got so annoyed that their veins popped out. But what her father-in-law did was only to stare at her with a look of accusation, instead of doing anything more than that. This section of the Xiao family was really nice. Qiao Xian could not help but smile. The two families must have gotten tired of the argument earlier today. So they did not say anything more at dinner. Although they behaved terribly, she decided to tolerate them, thinking that she would not have to spend so much time with them in daily life, as they were in different family sections. The dinner went well. After dinner, the children of the second and the third sections of the family were gone. But second uncle, Ms. Niu, third uncle and Ms. Ma remained there. Ms. Fang said that Xiao Yunduan was going to study, so she asked Qiao Xian to keep him company in the room. The elders who stayed back at eldest uncle's home started to chit-chat. They kept mentioning that he should watch out for Qiao Xian, because she was going to bring trouble to the family, etc. Eldest uncle became really guilty after hearing those suggestions. He nodded constantly in agreement. Chapter 24. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qiao Xian's joke. Eldest uncle also felt that Qiao Xian wasn't well behaved as a daughter-in-law was supposed to be. Look at Ms. Su. She was honest and diligent. But Qiao Xian did not show any politeness when speaking with the senior members of the family. Instead, she kept countering them. She was the daughter of the county magistrate, true, but she was the Xiao family's daughter-in-law. Hence, she needed to be taught well, otherwise she was going to offend many people. They were one family, and everyone should stay in harmony. On their wedding day the night before, when the original host caused such an accident, Xiao Yunduan got so annoyed and troubled that he did not care about anything else but fell asleep directly on the bed. But tonight, things were different and had started to go into the normal direction, well, at least on the surface. The sharp issue of how they were going to spend the night also came up. Xiao Yunduan just did not know how to mention this issue. They were a poor farmer's family with only one bed in the room. There were no other places available for sleeping. In the end, Xiao Yunduan decided to get some blankets from the wardrobe and sleep on the floor instead. The floor was not paved with wood or bricks, just concrete. The floor was firm but not dry enough to sleep on. Qiao Xian also thought of this issue. But she did not mention it deliberately, and occupied the bed before her husband could. But this man was so honest that he would rather sleep on the wet floor than on the bed. She got both annoyed and amused. Of course she was not going to let him sleep on the floor. It was far too wet and cold. What if he got sick? That would hurt her conscience. What are you doing? Sleeping. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at her. Don't worry, I am worried. Qiao Xian replied. The bed is wide. What are you sleeping on the floor for? I will have to take care of you, if you are sick. I am strong and I don't fall ill easily. But what if you get sick? Xiao Xian smiled. Oh, are you afraid of me? I am not. Xiao Yunduan snapped. This woman was so unreasonable. He wasn't afraid of her. Rather, she should be afraid of him. She had said what he was going to say. He was just thinking for her sake, but she, instead of showing him some care, even told him disdainfully that she would have to take care of him if he got sick. Moreover, she taunted that he was afraid of her. Then, come up. Xiao Xian added. We spent the last night together, did we? Xiao Yunduan. Yes, they did. So any more times would not make any difference. Xiao Yunduan got startled. He did not know how to reply to her. Xiao Xian was amused. This man was so tangled in his own thoughts. Anyway, she was going to help him out. She summoned him and said, come up and sleep, we are going to the mountains tomorrow. Xiao Yunduan's heart skipped 2 more beats. He flushed and almost tripped over. He opened his mouth, thinking that this woman simply did not know how to talk properly. Come up and sleep, that was not something to be said so casually. But it seemed right too. She looked natural and calm in every way. She was just making a statement, rather than meaning anything more than that. But he was the one who kept thinking about strange things. Xiao Yunduan knocked at his head, thinking that he must have gone mental. He squinted and saw Xiao Xian staring at him curiously. She had seen how he just behaved. Xiao Yunduan became so embarrassed that he wished that he could go deep into the ground and disappear. But he gave up when he had already come to this step. Xiao Yunduan coughed and calmed himself, as he walked straight to the bed. But the way he walked made Xiao Xian almost burst into laughter. Chapter 25. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Anyway, she wanted the following morning after breakfast, everyone got down to their own business. Xiao Yunduan told his mother that he was going to take Xiao Xian for a walk in the mountains. Ms. Fong was very happy. She nodded and said, showing an affable smile, all right, just go and take a walk, but don't go deep into the steep mountains. Take good care of her, so she won't trip or something. His mother looked gratified and satisfied. She even looked as if she understood everything. That made Xiao Yunduan feel a bit speechless. He would like to give an explanation but did not know how to make himself look less suspicious. So he gave it up eventually. Anyway, she wanted. As long as she was happy. With a bamboo basket in hand, Xiao Xian was very happy on the way. She hopped around and smiled, looking around and showing admiration as she observed the surroundings with a pair of beautiful eyes. It was the best time of the year, flourishing and full of plants. The landscape in the mountain was really attractive and beautiful. They had walked for more than half an hour, when they came to a forest filled with bamboo and trees. The valleys were large and broad, with gentle hills and trees, flowers blooming around. There was a clear river flowing at the feet of the mountain, with water gurgling and birds chirping from the tree branches. BDNV among the flourishing forest, Xiao Xian suddenly felt a sense of vibrant life, which made her feel rather joyful. It is so beautiful here. Xiao Yunduan thought that she made such a sound because she, who was born in a noble family, had never seen such a forest before. Maybe she found it exciting, it being her first time. He found a dry rock and sat down, answering her casually with a single yes. As Xiao Xian was looking around in admiration, she again smiled. There must be many mushrooms at this time of the year. They are always so fresh and tasty, I want to take some home. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at her, thinking that she had never been to the mountains and knew nothing about what was going on in the woods. So he said patiently, I suggest we do not do that. There are many mushrooms that are poisonous, what if we eat some of them, we will die. Xiao Xian smiled. But I know which kinds we can pick. They should be fresh and safe. She had just made an attempt, and with her superpower, she was able to tell which mushrooms were poisonous, and which were not, including those types that they did not know about. Xiao Yunduan did not believe her. He said seriously, I am not joking with you. We shouldn't do that. Xiao Xian pursed her lips. Why not? Let me tell you, I was born to be sensitive towards different plants. My father has many books about geography and everything, and one of them talked about mushrooms. I remember the contents well. I am not going to joke with my life. Xiao Yunduan could not think of any way to counter her. He even showed a look of admiration. The study of the county magistrate's home. That sounded really nice. Xiao Xian showed him a smile. He must be very jealous of her for knowing so much about mushrooms. Let's go, I can teach you something about them. Xiao Xian was very generous, as she tugged his sleeves and pulled him forward. She was not going to hide anything. Xiao Yunduan looked down at the hand that tugged his sleeves, saying nothing more. Anyway, they might as well do that. There were many mushrooms in the mountains, but it was not very easy to get them. If luck went against them, she might lose interest after a while. But what he did not know was that Xiao Xian always intended to get mushrooms for herself. She placed her hand casually on one leaf of a small tree, concentrated inwardly, and looked over with her superpower angle. Chapter 26. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. No need. She did not stop looking until her superpower sight covered many kilometers. That made Xiao Xian both surprised and happy, because the range was not fixed. She could clearly tell that when her superpower grew stronger, she was able to expand the range. Her superpower could grow, especially when it came to the season in which all matters were growing and everything was flourishing. In this environment, her power grew fast too. So within this visible range, every tree, every piece of grass, every flower, and even every small ant on the grass root as well as the ground became extremely clear in her eyes. Let's go that way. Xiao Xian pointed into one direction with a smile, and took Xiao Yunduan there. Xiao Yunduan saw that she was so delighted, and decided to follow her lead rather than disappoint her. Soon they found one bunch of grass mushrooms under one tree. The mushroom had gray-brown umbrellas, and the stems were thick, white and tender. Xiao Xian's eyes sparkled as she said, "We are so lucky." Seeing that she was squatting to pick them, Xiao Yunduan could not help but respond. Are they really safe? Of course. Xiao Xian took a bite of them. Look. Hey, you. Xiao Yunduan had no time to stop her but said, "What are you doing? Spit it now." Xiao Xian spat and said with a smile, "You see, it is safe, right?" Xiao Yunduan. He just had no idea how to react. She did not have to make so much effort to prove the point. He shivered and said, "Don't do this again. Pick them if you want, but feed them to the roosters first before trying them yourself, okay?" It was not worth dying because of a mushroom. Xiao Xian burst into laughter and nodded. "Okay, whatever you say." Xiao Yunduan looked at her and wondered why she did not accept his advice. Xiao Xian waved at him. "Come and help me pick some." Instead of turning her down, Xiao Yunduan had no choice but to squat down and pick mushrooms for her. Then the two of them found some wild growing needle mushrooms in brown yellow color, red mushrooms in dark red color, as well as several kinds of fragrant shiitake mushrooms, fungus, pine milk mushrooms, and many more. Even several rare porcini mushrooms were picked. But for the basket that was too small to hold everything, they were able to get more. They even found some very fat and big brackens on one hill. They picked one armful of that and tied them into one bunch with a long thatch. Satisfied, Xiao Xian smiled brightly. "This is a big harvest. We are so lucky today." Xiao Yunduan smiled with slight delight. He nodded. Yes. In the meanwhile, he was totally amazed. There were many mushrooms in the mountains, but they were never so readily available for him to pick all the time. They were just so lucky. The two of them were just about to head home, when they ran into Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao, who were strolling in the mountains. Fifth brother, fifth sister. In law. The brother and sister waved at them, running at them joyfully. Qi, Tao Tao, what a coincidence to run into you two. Xiao Xian's eyes brightened. Xiao Xiaoqi scratched her head and smiled. Yes, I put some traps down in the mountains the day before, so I am here to check to see if I caught anything. Fifth brother, fifth sister. In law, you have got so many mushrooms, and even bracken. Xiao Xian smiled. Those mushrooms are all so tasty, and so are the bracken. We are going to have a feast tonight. Xiao Tao Tao was as worried as her fifth brother. She could not help but ask. Many mushrooms in the mountains are not safe to eat. What about these? Chapter 27. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. One problem, of course. Xiao Xiaoqi replied with trust and determination in his voice. Fifth brother would never be wrong. His fifth brother was the cultivated talent, who had learned quite a bit and knew a lot. If he said that the mushrooms were fine, then they were definitely fine. Xiao Xian nodded in agreement and said with a smile, Qi is right. Xiao Tao Tao showed a look of realization. That is true. Xiao Yunduan. What a blame he had to take. The four of them went home together, as they were talking. Xiao Xian could not help but keep asking Xiaoqi what was happening in the mountains. Xiao Xiaoqi felt a bit regretful. I wasn't so lucky today. I got nothing. I wish I had trapped some wild rabbits, roosters or some other small birds, so that we could eat some meat tonight. This place is too close to the village, and hence, there aren't many wild roosters around. In a couple of days I will go to the Wangqing Mountains, where we are definitely going to get a lot. Few people visit there, so we are definitely going to get many wild animals. He was not only good at setting up traps, but also at shooting arrows. He was good at some kung fu, which was all taught by the deceased Grandpa Zhao. But Grandpa Zhao kept telling him that unless he was defending himself, he should never reveal that he was good at shooting in kung fu. Grandpa also told him not to reveal this secret to anyone in the family. He had no idea why, but Grandpa was very nice to him, so if he made the promise to Grandpa Zhao, he would definitely keep it. Therefore, even though he had made arrows and bows with bamboo, he was not going to do anything like this when he was lingering in the village, fearing that someone would see him. He only showcased his skills when he was deep in the mountains. Xiao Xian was apparently very interested in what she was told. She asked with a smile directly. It sounds very interesting. Qi, next time you go to Wangqing Mountains, take me with you, okay? And fifth brother too. Xiao Yunduan frowned slightly as he threw a look at her. So, she had become addicted to walking in the mountains. He could not help but caution them. It is very dangerous in the deep mountains, Qi, you. Before he could finish his, you shouldn't go there, Xiao Xian said with a smile, are you scared? Of course I am not. He was not going to admit even if he was. Nor am I. Xiao Xian said to Xiao Xiaoqi. Look, your fifth brother wants to join us too. Xiao Xiaoqi got totally happy and he struck his chest. Okay, don't worry, fifth brother, and fifth sister. In law, everything will be fine when I am with you. I won't take you to any dangerous places. Xiao Tao Tao cheered and chimed in as well. I want to go with you too. Xiao Yunduan. That was another blame he had to take. Anyway, since he could say nothing more, he would just drop the topic here. When mushrooms and brackens were brought home, Miss Fong spoke highly of Xiao Xian. But she wasn't sure about those mushrooms either. Xiao Xian passionately proved that those mushrooms were fine after feeding them to the roosters. Only then did Ms. Fong get assured. For dinner, they made fried mushrooms, mushroom soup, pickles with spring baboon and bracken. All were very fresh and tasty, and were highly appreciated. They had never expected that the mushrooms could taste so good. There were many mushrooms growing in the mountains. They would serve as very good dishes, if they were well distinguished. Also, though fresh mushrooms could not stay fresh for long, they could be dried and stored, ready to be eaten whenever, throughout the whole year. Therefore the following day, the interested Xiao Xian, together with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao went into the mountains again. Xiao Yunduan had no choice but to follow after. It was another day full of harvest. Within half a day's time, mushrooms, brackens and wild bamboos filled up their hemp bags. It seemed as if those mushrooms did not have to be found, but appeared right in front of their eyes directly. They could find the mushrooms wherever they wanted. Both Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao were cheerful. We are so lucky today. True. Chapter 28. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Admiration and delight. Xiao Yunduan could not help but nod in agreement. They were indeed very lucky. As the four of them returned home, Ms. Fang and Ms. Su did not suspect the safety of mushrooms as they already witnessed what happened the day before. So they got the dustpans to hold the mushrooms and dried them out on high places. When it came to brackens, they cut off the head and bottom, put them in boiling water before placing them into the clear water, after the brackens were taken home. Those coin-size and finger-size bamboos needed to be peeled. So the women sat together to peel off the shells. As they were busy with all of these, Ms. Niu came to visit them with a look of smile. She was thinking of some plans the moment she walked in. Seeing that Ms. Fang and Xiao Xian were peeling the bamboo, she instantly lost interest and said with a smile, "Oh, these bamboos are too thin to have their shells peeled off. It is so exhausting to do this work. Are you tired?" When she heard that some people of the family came home from the mountains with large bags of things, she just came to see what they had got. But the things in front of her were beyond her anticipation. Ms. Fang threw a look at her and said casually, "That is true, children are just having fun with it." Ms. Niu sounded as if she did not like any of these, but as she saw those peeled, white and tender-looking bamboos lying in the basket, she smiled and said, "Qi and Tao Tao are so diligent. I will have some to take home for a taste." But suddenly, a pair of hands stretched out and took away the whole basket instantly. Xiao Xian stood up with a basket and smiled. "Mom, should we also boil bamboo in the water?" Ms. Niu failed to get the basket and turned a bit dumbfounded. She looked so silly as she was frozen in her posture. Ms. Fang laughed and nodded at her. "Yes, but don't do that, you will burn your hands. Ms. Su, you go and do it instead." Ms. Su nodded and took over the basket. She had also been a bit anxious seeing that second sister-in-law was trying to get the basket. That woman was never going to spare any courtesy and would have taken the whole thing away. Those bamboos were very tasty, even though they were covered with thick shells. They had spent so much time peeling them and she would feel so bad if second sister-in-law took them away for free. But she did not dare to stop that woman. Luckily, her sister-in-law took action. Ms. Su could not help but admire and feel happy. Ms. Niu got so annoyed that she snorted. "Ms. Qiao, you are so stingy. We are a family, why are you defending your bamboos like this?" Xiao Xian showed an awkward smile and said, "It is so exhausting to peel these bamboos, I am not that generous to share them. Second sister-in-law, if you want to eat them, you can go to the mountains to pick them yourself, it is not that difficult." Xiao Xian was not a stingy person, but she did not want to share her spoils with Ms. Niu, who was snapping at them, simply trying to take advantage of them. "Ms. Niu." Ms. Fang chuckled. "Yes, that is true. They are not expensive things. They are available everywhere in the mountains. Just go and pick them if you want to. There are so many of us in the family. These are only enough for 2 meals. We can't share them, okay?" Ms. Niu snorted. Stingy people. She did not care about these no-taste bamboos. She just wanted to take advantage of them. She did not want to continue to care about these bamboos. But she had stepped into the family, and she believed that she needed to say something. Ms. Nyo rolled her eyes and suddenly smiled. Ms. Chiao, tomorrow is your return to bride's home day. Have you got your presents ready? Tell me what you are going to take home. I can help you with some ideas. Chapter 29. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Glare. Ms. Fong's smile stiffened and her face sank. She threw a really cold side glance at Ms. Nyo. This damn woman. What a bitch. She just picked those words which they did not like to talk about as if she could benefit something out of it. Ms. Fong could not help but feel regretful and nervous. She should have discussed with Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan about the return to Qiao Xian's family yesterday, but she forgot about it after having a row with her husband. She really had no idea what she should do about the trip. She started to think carefully and decided to turn to Qiao Xian instead. Qiao Xian smiled at Ms. Nyo. What about you getting 2 hens for me? My father and his wife would definitely love it. In your dreams. My hens are still hatching eggs. They can't possibly be given away as presents. Ms. Nyo glared back at her. Qiao Xian shrugged and uttered a small "oh" sound. Then why are you asking for the information, if you are not sponsoring it? Ms. Nyo again said sinisterly, but you have hens, don't you? You can give some of them to your family, right? But I don't think that hens are enough for the return trip, right? Elder sister. In law, it is time for you to back up Yunduan and the Xiao family. You should never be stingy about this, right, Ms. Chiao? Ms. Nyo was trying her best to turn the family members against each other. Of course. Ms. Chiao is a kind, understanding and family-favored person. We are going to do everything we can for her. Ms. Fong glared at her, feeling both angry and irritated. What was going on? But she did not dare to say anything as she looked at Qiao Xian. If she countered Ms. Nyo, then she would probably annoy Qiao Xian, who might assume that she would overthink her intention. Qiao Xian smiled at Ms. Fong gratefully. Mom, thank you for your kindness. My father and mother once said that the elder section of the Xiao family are kindest of all. For them, just greetings would do. Mom, you don't have to care about this, otherwise I will feel so sorry about your concern. My father and mother will snap at me, for causing you trouble, if you do too much for me. Officer Chiao was a very selfish person with the intention of going upwards. He did not care a thing about Qiao Xian. As for Madame Chiao, well, she was very happy that Qiao Xian had married into a farmer's family. She did not care if she was bringing back any presents. As a matter of fact, Qiao Xian had not even thought about returning to her own family. She would rather go back with nothing in her hands. Her family would not help her even when she was in trouble. If that was the case, why should she care about them? Ms. Fong felt warmth attacking her heart. She felt slightly more assured as she responded anxiously. Okay, that is good, that is good. Qiao Xian turned to look at Ms. Nyo and smiled. Don't stand there, second sister. In law, come and help us peel the bamboo. Ms. Fong felt so happy at this moment that she sneered. True, you are so free, why not come and help us peel the bamboo? Ms. Nyo felt quite jealous and showed a false smile. I am not free at all, I need to go home. She was so angry that they had such good luck. How did the Chiao family end up being related to them? She could not help but start to complain about her son. Her second son could do nothing, but her fourth son, who she believed to be smart, just did not want to go to school and study. He said that he would reap the harvest rather than go to school, where he felt a headache attacking him. The elder brother was always taking care of his younger brothers and their families. If he had been willing to study, the fifth son of the family would have been squeezed to nowhere by this point. Chapter 30. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Yunduan's reaction when Ms. Nyo was gone, Ms. Fong could not help but mention the topic about returning to Qiao Xian's family on the next day. Qiao Xian kept consoling her, telling her that her family did not care for presents, so Ms. Fong really felt assured. By this point, Ms. Fong loved Qiao Xian even more. She felt really happy for her. The next morning, Xiao Yunduan took Qiao Xian back to her family. There was no wagon in the village, so they spent 20 yuan in borrowing a bullock cart to ride back. Qiao Xian had not prepared any presents. She decided to buy some on the street. She did not want to give away the arrogant roosters and fat hens which she had been feeding for 2 days, let alone the efforts done by Ms. Fong and Ms. Su earlier on them. Ms. Fong decided that they should go to the street to buy some stuff, when she truly could not find anything at home to offer. She gave Qiao Xian 2 yuan. That was what she had saved till this point from her private earnings. They just could not save any money openly. The other 2 sections of the family were all staring at the savings. But for Xiao Yunduan, who was going to school, she would not have any private money either. Qiao Xian had not intended to take it, but she accepted it when she failed to turn down the kind offer. As they walked into the county, they bought 4 boxes of pastry, 2 jars of rice wine and 2 boxes of tea leaves. Those were very ordinary things, and were cheap. Qiao Xian intentionally bought some beautiful wrappings to repack them. So, every present looked really amazing and expensive. Xiao Yunduan was totally dumbfounded. Seeing her achievement, Qiao Xian could not help but feel that she had taken revenge, when she thought of how Madame Qiao was going to react to that. Before we go there, I have a few words to share with you. Anyway, as long as they arrived at the Qiao family, all the evil inside the mansion would be revealed in front of him. Madame Qiao, her lineal sister, Qiao Wei and her second sister, Qiao Ko as well as concubine Du would definitely laugh and sneer at her. They might even humiliate her as well as her husband, Xiao Yunduan. She decided to give Xiao Yunduan a warning before he entered the mansion. Xiao Yunduan was surprised, but not that surprised after all. He was a cultivated talent and had more knowledge than the others. He clearly understood the conflicts that were bound to exist between the lineal mother and the concubine's children. When Qiao Xian was rescued by him, he had found it to be very strange as to how there could be no maids next to this noble lady when she fell into the water. How did she fall into the water so easily? But he did not delve deep into the reason, when right afterwards, their wedding happened. But hearing what Qiao Xian said, he suddenly felt that everything made sense. No wonder the marriage went on so easily. Madame Qiao was hoping that Qiao Xian could marry a farmer's son. He was a cultivated talent, but there were many talents out there, and Xiao Yunduan never believed that he could make it through all the imperial examinations. He might remain as just a cultivated talent for the rest of his life. No wonder Qiao Xian committed suicide on their wedding night. Xiao Yunduan suddenly felt sorry for Qiao Xian and threw a sympathetic look at her. She wasn't living an easy life either. We are not going to be received well today, but don't take any of their words to heart. We won't have much communication with them from this day on. We can just get the ceremony done as soon as possible, and can go home soon. Okay. The couple held a very strange conversation, which did not make them look like a newly wedding couple on their way back to the bride's home. The couple came to the back street of the county mansion with gifts in each of their hands. No one was there to greet them at the door, which didn't even open until a long while later. Even the housekeepers, and a few aunties were nowhere to be seen, let alone the master. The door was opened, as a lazy sound of "Second Miss and Second Sir Sun in law are back here." Then the sound disappeared.